Oh no. Yeah, we blew it. What did you expect, dude? So, the $50 that we have left, that was going nowhere. I mean, I was gonna have to trade my way back up. I was holding out hope, but we had $50. You were just gonna have to trade MNQ with that until you can take enough of a risk on NQ. Otherwise, you'll be sitting there on MNQ, the micro E-minis, for a long time, baby. A little upsetting, sure, but the foundations were laid. Basically, I lost the first day, because I just went on tilt, and you know, how do you do this? So really, it's like, yeah, the first day I lost multiple thousands of dollars. It looks like. There we go. 1,200 first day. One big fat loser that day. Yeah, dude. I mean, just taking more than one trade. So yeah, I think I knew we screwed that up. This was where I lost it today. It was right here. I went long right here. And oh, cool. Just doesn't want to show you. I've been really getting into the order footprint stuff, and that is when I start doing new shit. I think it's better if I don't have an account open, or if I need to find a way to compartmentalize that, because here's the funny. I didn't even notice this. It took out my stop and then went to my target. So I entered on this green guy right here because of the delta changing as it goes in and struggles to get lower. Delta decreasing, well, not decreasing, increasing really. Gets green on here and then gets a big jump. That's a nice fake out. Takes myself along with a lot of other people, and then it goes up to my place. There's probably not an actual signal in there unless you use a bigger stop on the one that I entered on. But that was actually, this was about as much. I had like $50 worth of stop to play with. So I figured if this candle got reversed, it wouldn't really matter. And I was stopped out by margin anyways. Some issues with that. Well, one, I should be sticking to the plan, first of all, because that's the plan. The plan is and if I was just sticking to the plan and just using technical analysis, that wouldn't have been a valid trade to enter because it was already in this zone that I entered off of. And we were in a big downtrend, but like, I feel like on NQ we always see it because it's been such an uptrend. Even though we do see it go down, like we end up seeing it go really far down and then make a reversal. It's so funny because that was actually the bottom of that move until, yeah. But coulda, shoulda, woulda. That wasn't really I don't want to lament over that trade because that wasn't what I should have been trading. So I want to make a separate video, I think, because this will just end up being wacky. I want to make a separate video talking about my plan to succeed. I don't know if it's going to work yet. In the meantime, just need to keep doing supply and demand, and that is why we need to do this back testing, because it might actually pull up from here. This was an old, not the best level, but it just happens to be bouncing off of that level. I think my freaking sensitivity is a little high. We could bounce, or we might make a bigger retracement downwards. Who knows? But I'm kind of ideating where we're going to find like higher time frame demands, what that looks like. On a lower time frame, I haven't back tested this week at all, or Christmas week. I think I traded 1 or 2 days, like Monday, Tuesday. I didn't back test the 16th or the 17th. Let's just go through this week. We can actually find out pretty easy how we... I think because my account's blown up, it's just... Yeah, there's no account to look at, actually, so we have no idea. But let's just look at what we've been seeing on NQ lately. So today was interesting. There was a good short early on. And where was that? It wasn't a beautiful short. It was a short. It wasn't beautiful. So let's just look at some of these zones. Goes inside, doesn't take it. So let's just be strict. Let's just be strict with it. Drawing of zones, I'm still going to be a little nice, a little cute with it, but here's one that would have worked on the upside if you're convinced that now we are doing a reversal, which at this point, it does look like a reversal, because you have this is a low, you have a lower low where I got stopped out, then you have a higher low and a break of this high. So that kind of constitutes a break of structure. Break of structures are very powerful, used with confluence, because I don't want to fully speculate, but just like based on stuff that I've been researching, which has to do more with volume at price and order flow rather than volume at time and price at time. It's just a change of character, which is a word that I'm not really explaining it, but a bunch of volume is happening at this level basically, and it's it can be pivotal because it's people deciding, it's price deciding. So up here, price was saying, okay, there's still some trades going on up here. I'm still comfortable trading up here, but not really. I'd rather trade down here. This was more of a good trade zone for price. Then it comes down, it comes up. It says, okay, so this is now an area that I'm happy with trading at. Definitely not up here because we didn't even test up here. There wasn't even thin volume up here. There was no volume up here. And then it comes down, and then it actually pokes back up, and it starts testing a little more. So it's breaking ground, which is this high. Comes back down to a place where it found found fair value, found like price to be acceptable before. And it takes that area of value and it says, I'm actually going to reject from it, and I'm going to spend more of my time, spend more volume actually up in here, probably. I mean, this candle probably had a bunch of volume down here because of the wick, and it's a reversal. I'm not doing a great job of explaining it, especially because you can't see any of the volume or the order flow or the bid-ask stuff, but I will pull something together, and when I have a plan, share my plan with you as it pertains to price. It's like a trifecta, right? This my plan, that is. Sorry, that was probably bright as fuck. Currently what we have is just price action. price action. That's candle bars, sticks. That's supply and demand, right? What I'm looking to make friends with and make some changes and blah, blah, blah. So I actually got back into this because I was looking at Bookmap. I told you about Bookmap last video or two, which may or may not still be part of it. And Bookmap is like the big aggressive buyers and sellers represented as bubbles, as well as heat map. And I think now that I'm learning about this other thing, I'm thinking that the heat map is like the most valuable part of Bookmap. Just because I'm a visual person and the DOM flashes so quickly that, for example, if you have a heavy level, let's say you had a heavy level of resistance right here, you had a lot of sell orders sitting right here, and they bounced price. You can see that on Bookmap, and you see that perpetuating in the DOM. But then when you come up here in the moment, let's say they got pulled. I'm not saying this is what happened, but let's say they got pulled, this heavy level. On the DOM, all you would see is zoop, the number disappears, and you have no record of that number being there of orders right at this level. So heat map is really good for that. It lets you see that on Bookmap. If price is being pulled, if orders are being pulled like that, that could be a signal. I'm spending too much time explaining this, but the other one is footprint charts, which I really like. I think it's hard to test because they're not free. They're really not free anywhere. I'm thinking the best way is going to be to get Sierra Chart Package 3, which is like $26 a month, or Package 4 maybe. I think it's $36 a month actually. And then you can access that. And Sierra Chart is something that people use for charting, like, DOM. And some people say DOM. I don't know why you would say DOM. It's DOM, bro. So this trifecta right here is how I plan to make something happen. And I think it's going to be kind of a, like, keeping an eye on the big levels, big areas, big supply zones, confirming that something's there or something is inside it with like stacked imbalances or thin prints or unfinished auctions on the footprint chart. And honestly, you could go either way. At the same time, I could be looking at here to see if there's any important levels at on a supply and demand area. And then probably honestly execute on the footprint chart, because it becomes too fast to read, but there are a lot of metrics to really hammer down, like what kind of quality you're looking for. So I'd like to program some indicators that kind of aggregate all that into something that's readable in real time. Easy to read, and once you start understanding what's going on, it's pretty easy to read in the footprint historical chart, but in real time it can be a problem, especially on an NQ. Like, gonna mess around with different instruments, different ranges, different charts, but NQ it just moves and ranges so fast, which is good, and I want to stay on NQ, but it makes it difficult to make real-time choices when you're looking at all the information that is available to you on a footprint chart. Here's what a footprint chart looks like. Like that. Like, you're reading all that shit and more, the ratios, the delta that's beneath it. So anyways, yeah, great. We're 14 minutes in. That's my plan. I would love to show you guys something more put together, but in the meantime, that's a good one. You can take 1-to-1, you can take it to a high. You can't take it to this high. Don't get greedy. Take it to this high. But that whole move is 60 points. This also was like kind of a supply zone here. So I think being a little silly, a little goosey, a little cute with the supply and demand zones isn't bad, but I think being strict on entries right now is where it's at. And this tested 3 times, only with wicks, but still, like, tested 3 times. But if you're being ballsy, if you really like that, you can take that down to the low. You can take it almost to this low, but not quite. That's also at the end of the day. So keep that in mind, prop traders. That closes out. Well, that'll close you out. Yeah, you can close out before 4. And then here, which also, well, here's the deal, man. This is kind of already a supply. So I just watched a video, too, that was like zones within zones are stronger, but at the same time, like, this is a zone, this is a tap of the zone. So if this is tapping this zone, then doesn't that make this zone irrelevant? And to what extent can you create a new zone from something that's tapping a zone? That's a question that you like kind of have to answer with a lot of back testing. I don't have an answer to it. It works here, but we tend to like fresh zones, I think. So but this would have worked on the first test. This is the weird thing about back testing backwards. Really easily, actually. That's roughly your 1-to-1. That's your low. Jesus, really just moving lately, huh? I feel like I've been seeing a lot of big numbers on. You don't just get like a casual $2,000 move. I mean, I haven't been trading NASDAQ for that long, only a few months. So, there's a zone up here that doesn't really do anything. This is a nice little fake out zone. But again, if we're being, like, you can't take that anywhere. If we're being strict, again, like, we should be shorting only below the 200 EMA. So that would have kept me out of that. This was an early one I saw, like, right after it happened. But really, the wick on this is still pretty sketchy. You do have, like, cumulative delta in here. And kind of weird price action underneath it, honestly. But you could take this if you took this. I don't like that wick, so I think I would just stay out. But you could take that one for a little bit of money. Here's like kind of the most, this is overnight, but this is like an obvious zone. And it breaks through, so if you want to be, yeah, it's just weird. I feel like I've seen a lot where it goes up, it really stays in a range for a long time. And then even though people say like it's kind of good if it goes straight down to the zone because that means like price is just seeking straight liquidity very strongly, very aggressively. And the liquidity is down here. That's why it goes straight down here. So that seems like a good sign on paper, but I feel like we keep seeing where it comes up, it goes into this range for a while, and then it goes down, straight down, like straight up, straight down. That's a little bit of a fake out. I think it also kind of happens across the EMA, so I think that could be part of it. This is another overnight zone that doesn't really give you a signal or anything, so that's at least not a fake out. Yeah, nothing there. Oh, really? This looks like a 1-minute chart. This is on a 5-minute chart, but just clearly a lot of kind of, it's just like a choppy reclaiming of this earlier action. So this is the afternoon. That's not a good zone. If you draw that, that's not good. Yeah, nothing. I mean, it's just so noisy this day. I don't think I was looking at the chart yesterday. No, I wasn't. It's just super noisy. Yeah, not really seeing anything here. Unless you want to be super loosey-goosey with your zone drawing and call that something, but then even then the wick, I think you just stay out of that altogether. And you're coming back, that's like kind of the bottom, that's like kind of what I tried to do today. You're coming back from the bottom. So that's the 30th. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. It's going to be 2025 in a few hours, so that's exciting. But I think just nothing good. This is now Friday the 27th. So I found this like indicator that's like a zone drawing thing, kind of like TradingView, and I got really excited. Oh, you can do a 1-to-1 though. Okay. It's a little weird though. It takes a little getting used to. It's not very easy to change your ratio. That's a fun little ruler to have though. We can keep that. So nothing there. Nothing right here. This is not good. Just not getting clean zones here. You're not getting clean zones. Again, it is like, this is the week of Christmas, so it's kind of like, should you even be looking at the chart? Apparently I was, though, because look at this. I don't think I traded any of this, but I was looking at this. Oh no, I did. This was the one where, again, I keep doing this until today, the day that I should have backed out. But I jumped in on that candle right there. And if you use our handy dandy little tool now, pretty clearly see the 1-to-1 right here. Take the high. That's the other thing, is putting the stop below the supply zone. I think a lot of people do that, or stop below the demand zone or above the supply zone if you're shorting. I think a lot of people do that. I understand why, especially on NASDAQ, because it's so volatile. I don't know how many times, though. I don't think I've really been stopped out because of... I don't usually get stopped out and then it goes higher. And I'm kicking myself like, oh, I should have put my stop below the zone. You know, I'd rather... Because the zones can really be deep, so it's not, you know. And on this one, if you did put your stop below the zone, you would still get stopped out with that one. So I'm not convinced at this stage for myself. I'm not convinced for myself. But that was the one that I got in, got out real quick. Again, I was looking at Bookmap. I should have just been looking at price action. And if I was, even though this is in a great zone, it kind of looks like it got tapped already. If I decided to take that either way, that's like a higher high on the EMA. That would have been nice. And I was trading this on MNQ, so that would have been like $55, $165, but still that's a lot of point value. Yeah, I don't know why I drew this. This isn't a good short signal. Maybe on like a 15-minute, but no, not really. And then here's again, but again, we're being strict. We're trying to be strict, boys. So let's keep that out, because that would be the third tap of this shitty demand zone. And this one's just hanging out down here, and it looks better, but it kind of looks like it wants to stay above the EMA. So I don't know. There are times when this is hanging out down here. It looks better and it just never gets tapped. At least, or you get a couple of good setups and then it never gets tapped. And also, this second tap would not have gotten you to the high. This was ranging and then kind of reversing. So, I think that's all that happened that day, though. This zone just got its back blown out. Here was Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. Oh, this was Christmas. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because it was just nothing going on. Oh, they don't even include it in here. Okay. Well, I have no problem with that. So this is Christmas Eve. You get this one with the delta divergence, but crazy wick. So if you really want to be aggressive and go for that, that's all you, baby. I mean, maybe you drop a limit on the break of candle, but then you're rocking with. Let's see if I can remember how to use this. Drop a limit on the break of candle. I mean, if you don't, obviously we know that it goes up like that, but in real time, yeah, this is why I don't like this. In real time, you don't know that that's going to happen, so you're kind of asking for a lot, but you do get a nice jump on the next candle. There you go. Takes a few minutes. 51 points. 51 point stop. Do you feel good about that? I hope so. Yeah. But again, if we're being stricty boys, that wick would tip me off in a different direction. This never gets quite touched, but it keeps going up. And again, just like a crazy big move. I don't know if it does that usually Christmas Eve. Sure, a lot of last minute shopping. I don't know if that directly affects the NASDAQ like that. Oh, but here was something interesting. This was overnight, so like luckily you wouldn't see this unless you're trading in Asia. But this is like a really bad fake out because it looks really good. But I think the only way that we're like being strict is the only way to dodge this is just because you see the break of that. But I could see myself like kind of justifying this trade to myself because of how big that wick is. I mean, that's like a 42 point wick. But that's overnight, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you see something like that, stay the fuck away from it. Okay. Last one. 23rd. Let's start from the morning this time. Don't be a psychopath. This is okay, so it went up like crazy over the Friday. Yeah. Made this little situation. These green bars that tapped followed by a red bar. I don't know how I feel about those in the supply zone. We saw one later on, but I don't like it. That zone gets beat. And then at noon, you get a really bad zone. So again, if we're being strict, I say just can this zone altogether because you see the zone form and then you just see how long price hangs out in the zone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 taps. I think the whole point of supply and demand is that was where there wasn't a lot of battling going on. There was a lot of conviction from one side. And that's why you expect conviction to return because people thought that that was a good place to trade one side. So the volume should be thin, I think. There shouldn't be a lot of stuff going on here. And it should be attracted to what is perceived to be a fairer price up here in this area somewhere. This one happened to work out. I think that's stupid, though. So this was 12:23, 12:30, 12:23. So, like, I'm sure it's going to look a little... Yeah, it still looks sideways, though. Still looks sideways. It just doesn't look good. It's just not clean. That looks good. But, you know, that's 30 minutes. That's just not good. That's it, dude. That's like Christmas. Christmas week. New Year's week thus far. I wish you all a wonderful and safe New Year's. Every last one of you. And a Merry Christmas. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas. Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how to... I think I'm going to go on Sierra Chart and kind of see if I can test stuff there. But for $36 a month. But we blew another account. Congratulations. It's what it is. But just keep going, guys. It's another year. You're going to get there. You need to stop. You need to not be silly with it. Like I think this year recently I think I might have thrown away psychology a little bit. Where early on, I think when I got back into it, I was really strong with psychology, and I was listening to this audio book and listening to videos, and even if it's just being in that mindset. If you have a Spotify Premium, go listen to Trading in the Zone. It's free with Spotify Premium. Just put it on your way to work, when you're walking the dogs, when you're changing the diaper, just your diaper or somebody else's. Just put that audiobook on. It's good. And it's more than being good, I think it's just a way to get yourself in the mindset of like, okay, I need to be thinking about psychology because I'm still on this quest of seeking the Holy Grail. That's what all this footprint shit is. And I think I could see it either being something that really does help me cement really good setups and qualify good setups that I'm already seeing. Or it could be something that turns into too much noise and just sends me back to straight price action. Which would be sad, but I'd rather know and get really good at one thing than not have tried it out. But basically, just guys, remember this is a game about this is not a game about one thing. This is a game about everything. I don't mean everything like if you don't do this, your life is gonna be unfulfilled and suck. I mean, this is a game about everything. Like this is a game about your psychology, your health, your technical awareness. This is everything. This is you take everything with you when you look at the charts and you click that buy button and you click that sell button. So just keep going, dudes. Don't give up. Don't give up. I think I started I haven't been trading for 4 years straight, but I started in 2020 in some form or another. I've gone on, I've gone off. And you feel like you're getting closer, and who knows if you are. But you are. You always are getting closer. You just don't be lazy. Just be purposeful with your learning. You'll have days of inspiration. It's just like anything else. It's just like learning anything else. It's just got a weird learning curve, like a really fucked up learning curve. So don't be too hard on yourself. Don't gamble real money. Don't gamble money you can't afford to lose. Get on the sim and just hammer it down, dude. And you're gonna want to jump in there before you're ready. And like maybe you have to just to learn the lesson of like, just to learn the lesson that you're not the one who's gonna make it in like 3 months. And to learn the lesson of like, okay, I might think I have it, but I actually don't, and I need to go back to the drawing board. But we're on the journey, man. I'm just happy to be on the path. Put in the emoji of the guy who's crying, but he has like the smug mask on. It's going, dude. It's going. It is. And I'm excited about this order flow stuff, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And the good news about that is that it's going to give me one less thing to focus on, and that means it's just time to fucking stare at some candlesticks. That's it. All right, Happy New Year.